Greetings, everyone. I'm Hanif Salaam, and welcome to Second Chances in the First State, where we amplify voices fighting for justice. We share the stories that need to be heard and empower Delaware's communities to create real change. Today, we're going to take a deeper dive and looking at the legal system, confronting injustices, and taking action for a better tomorrow. And I have the honor and the privilege of being joined with DCJ's Executive Director, Alonna Berry. How you doing today, Alonna?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here. So why don't you just share with the audience, everybody watching, just a little bit about yourself for those who may not know who you are.
Yeah, my name is Alonna Berry, and I am the Executive Director of the Delaware Center for Justice. I come from a background in education. I'm a former classroom teacher. I've done work in prisons, as well as some work in policy and government. And so I'm excited to bring that here to this role. I also formerly sat on the board and chaired the board of the Delaware Center for Justice. So for me, this feels like a full circle moment coming back. It
sounds like it. Education, prison system, policy. So, Alonna, let me ask you, what does justice mean to you personally, and how has it shaped your journey to get into DCJ?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think justice shows up in a lot of different ways, depending on people's experiences. But for me, at its core, justice is about equity. It is about making sure that folks get what they should have based on their experiences. And so, some people talk about justice in response to poverty, justice in response to what people don't have. Some people talk about justice in response to how one is dealing with, or dealt with in our criminal justice system, or in our legal system. But ultimately, justice is about making sure that everyone has what they need, has what they deserve, and they're able to thrive in our community and our society, not dependent on where they live, not dependent on what they look like, not dependent on what their job is, but just because they're an individual, they're human, and that's their right to be able to access those things.
I totally agree. That's why here at DCJ, we not only promote justice, but we are up and down the state helping all Delawareans have justice in their lives. So now that you've officially stepped into the role of ED, what are your immediate priorities for the organization?
Yeah, the beautiful thing about the Delaware Center for Justice is we are the second oldest nonprofit in the state of Delaware,
yes, we are.
Which means we've been doing this work for a really long time in our state, since 1920. And our story has evolved over time as an organization. We started more on the policy side of things. A very Delaware story, I always say, a group of committed individuals who meets in a room, and they start an organization. And I think that work has changed over time. We still do a lot of work in policy, but a lot of our work lives on the programmatic side, where we're directly working with individuals who have been impacted by our legal system and helping them get back to what justice for them, right? What makes them whole as an individual. And so I'm excited about the work that we're doing here at the Delaware Center for Justice. I'm excited about where we're going forward. And my job, coming in as the executive director, is to tell that story. That's the core piece of it. I want to make sure that the Delaware Center for Justice, people know who we are. I want to make sure that people know who we are across the state. It's really, really important and impactful that we are a statewide organization.
Yes, indeed.
That we have staff in every single county that work in those counties full time, and that know those communities and know what the needs are and know where the services are and the wraparound supports are. And I want to make sure that people know that. I want to make sure that families of folks who have been justice involved and those who have been justice involved themselves understand that they can come to us for services, they can come to us when they need things, and that we don't charge people for that, right? Yeah. And then the other piece of this is helping the organization think about where we go next. Correct. It's not easy to be an organization that's existed for more than 100 years. And so that in order to stay relevant, you have to evolve. You have to shift and change to meet the needs of what the current environment is. And so as we head into the next year, it's going to be thinking alongside of our leadership team, thinking alongside of our board, and really understanding, where do we go here? How has justice evolved in our society? What does that look like in the state of Delaware? And what's DCJ's role in that? And so that's what I'm excited to do.
Wow, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree, and I want everybody listening and watching to understand DCJ not only provides services up and down the state, but we're a leader in providing innovative services, whether it's for adults in reentry, whether it's for youth in schools, adjudicated youth. Like, DCJ does a lot. Like, and initially, like you said, justice is for all Delawareans, right? And we're not only a leader in providing services, but at the core of what we do is also that policy, that advocacy, staying in tune with the community, understanding what the community needs. Yeah. So as you said, doing this for 105 years, the Delaware Center for Justice, you're coming in as the next executive director. What are your plans to add something new, add something fresh while building on to this legacy of everything that DCJ has been doing?
Yeah, I think my lens in most things, I love history, and so I always like to root things in the understanding of where they started in order to understand where we are, in order to understand where we're going. And I think DCJ's history has been a really impactful one over time. I think we've made a lot of strides in the Delaware legal system and justice system, but I still think there's so much more work to be done in our system. And so, like every nonprofit right now, we're pushing ahead, but potentially into some challenging times. Yes, it's important for our organization to be able to operate and to be able to support our staff and our team. One of my backgrounds that I come to this work with is a trauma background, understanding the impacts of trauma and trauma-informed care. Our team are on the ground every day.
Yes, indeed.
And they are dealing directly with folks who have been impacted by trauma themselves. Our staff are impacted, by what they experience every day with the constituents and the clients that we serve. And I think one piece that's important is that we can take care of each other as a community, right? Yes, indeed. To make sure it's not easy to wake up every day and do the kind of work that I know our team does. And so I want to make sure that our staff is supported, that they have what they need. And that takes a whole host of things, right? Like, we've got to make sure we have funds. We have to make sure that we have the materials and supports that they need. We also have to make sure that people have the space that they need to take when they need to take the space so that they can rejuvenate themselves, right? Because in order to help others, you have to show up for yourself first.
Yes, indeed.
And so I'm excited about all of those things, and I think that's some of the work that, as we move into, let's say, the next chapter of the Delaware Center for Justice, that we want to prioritize. We have to make sure our staff have what they need so that they can go out in the community and serve the folks who need help and need our supports, and then we have to be able to talk about that work to others, right? And that's part of my role, but that's also part of what our communications team does. It's part of why this podcast is such a cool experience. It's part of what our policy team does, because often people don't understand the kinds of barriers that our clients face. And whether that's folks in our school systems who are struggling with some of the policies and procedures that their kids are facing, that they themselves have to deal with, whether that's folks who are currently actively in our justice system and are dealing, with what's happening in our prisons, or their families, dealing with how they support their loved ones while they're in our justice system, are those who are reentering back into our community and are starting fresh, day one, and have to figure out, how do I get an ID? And how do I make sure that I'm showing up for the appointments that I need to show up for? How do I make sure I am able to get a job when I come back? And that's the core of what we do here at DCJ, and I'm really proud of it.
And I'm excited because not just being the host of this podcast, I am a DCJ employee, and I can say Alonna has came in. She's not just talking the talk, she's walking the walk. We have a new policy that I was excited to hear just this week that's adding 2 additional mental health days to our already great PTO policy. We get plenty of paid time off whenever you need it. But just receiving that email, it was like exciting, but it felt good. Like you said, I'm like, okay, Alonna's coming in. She really cares about the work that we're doing, because it does get intense. Yeah. Being a youth institutional coordinator, going inside of the facilities, working with adjudicated youth every day, it's good to know that if I just need a day to say, hold on, I'm not sick, there's nothing wrong, I just need a day, that my employer understands, because a lot of organizations do not have the policies that DCJ has. So it's exciting for me to be here, but it's also exciting to hear your passion for community. So can you just talk a little bit about the importance of building a relationship with community? Because, I mean, we do service the community, but when I hear you talk about the people in Delaware, you're really passionate about ensuring everybody has justice.
Yeah, I think it probably goes back to what I started with, which was, how you define justice, right? Yep. I think for me, it's, and you both know I'm a mom of 2 little ones. When I think about the world that I want them, my 2 sons, to grow into, it shouldn't matter where they're from. It shouldn't matter what they look like. It shouldn't matter what school they went to, right? There are certain things that they should just be able to have and receive, just like their peers, just like everyone else around them. I think, that is what true justice looks like. And so when we talk about community, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like Delaware is a unique place. We love it. I love it. It's wonderful. But it has its every community and sub-community and sub-community has a unique set of challenges,
yes,
right?
Indeed.
And for me, justice is really about those communities having the space and the place to be able to share what they need, and then having the tools to be able to get it.
Yes.
And I think sometimes what I've experienced, that's where it stops. A group can say, here's what we're observing, here's what we're missing, here's what we're not getting, but they struggle with
getting it.
How do you get it, right? Yep. And I think justice is when those tools are available to everyone. And so whether that's policy, whether that's, looking at government structure and the legislature and how laws are made, whether that's walking into a courtroom and again, the judge seeing person A the same way as they see person B, the same way, ensuring that their response to whatever the situation is a response to that individual, yes, and that individual's circumstance, which is different for everybody, right? My background and my experience growing up in lower Delaware is very different than my experience of my peers, and the things that impact me and my community are different, right? Or it may show up differently.
Correct.
And so that, justice is really about having that responsiveness that responds to those individual needs. And so I think what DCJ does is help our clients and others figure out what those tools are and figure out how they can activate those tools for not just themselves, but for their families and their communities, so that they can begin to understand and navigate and get to where they want to go for themselves. And so we can't do this work alone.
Agreed.
We work with the community, and that piece is really important. And so going back to what I said earlier about, where DCJ is going next. Well, where DCJ is going next is dependent on what we're hearing from the community and what the community is telling us is needed next. And so it's not something where I can just come in and say, I see 10 years from now, this is where we're going to land, because we have to be able to engage those who have been impacted by the injustices in our system first, and then hear that and be able to work together to figure out where we go next, what programs we need, and then design from there.
I love it. And this is why I love working with DCJ, for DCJ, because we are truly a community-focused organization. As you just heard it from the executive director, all the work that we do, whether it's from advocating policy, whether it's working directly with our clients, this is based off the need of communities up and down the state. Mm-hmm. From Claymont to Slaughterneck. Yeah. We are in tune with the community. We try to stay in tune with what the community needs, and we try to be that platform that can provide the tools for everybody to have what they need to be successful. And to do that, we need you too. You can help us do this work. One very important in doing this work is fundraising. So if you are passionate as me and Alonna about the work DCJ is doing, please visit our website at www.dcjustice.org. Click the big donate button on the website. You can't miss it. Every little bit helps, whether it's $1, $100, $1,000, $10,000. It all helps us to do this work up and down the state. We're trying to go another 100 years. We're in our 105th year, Alonna. And would you like to share anything with the people just about our 105-year fundraising campaign that we've planned?
Yeah, so as I shared earlier, and we are 105 years old, which is amazing. It's also... And when you think about it, challenging. Some of the original tenets of DCJ, we started as a prisoners' aid society, looking at our prison system and saying, these are the things that need to change. Some of that original list we're still fighting for today. And so, I have a deep belief that the role of a nonprofit ultimately should be to put ourselves out of business, or and what I've seen DCJ do over the years is shift as things evolve, right? To make sure that we shouldn't be doing the exact same thing we did.
Be able to solve it and move on to the next thing.
Exactly. In 1920, we should be doing what's needed in 2025. And we don't know what'll be needed in 2030 or 2040, but the goal of our organization should be to be responsive to that. And one of our core tenets is to listen, right? We listen, we act, right? And so those two things are there, and they're purposeful. And so when I think about 105 years, we are launching into our 105th year campaign. As I said, we started in 1920, which meant our 100 years fell in 2020, which was challenging, as we all know, for everyone. And so we didn't think it quite made sense at that time because we were busy doing the work.
Right.
We were busy supporting the folks who needed our help. And so now we're taking a step back. We're celebrating all the work that's happened, the history of that work, and then we're, again, setting the path forward for what that means. A big piece of our work, as I said, we do a lot of programmatic work, we also do policy and communications and operations and those pieces. And so, like most nonprofits, operating dollars are important. That's how we keep our spaces. That's how we make sure that we can provide 401ks and healthcare policies and all the things that DCJ has. And so this campaign is a launch into making sure that we have that sustainable funding for multiple years moving forward, so that our staff can keep doing the really great work that they're doing, that our clients can continue to receive the things that they need, and that we can be able to facilitate those things for them. It also helps so that we can do fun collaborative things as a team, right?
Yeah.
Like staff days, etc. But it also ensures that we can do community events too. Like we have our annual Visions of Justice conference that'll be coming up towards the end of the year, November. All of those things are the pieces that we plan to use this fundraising for as we're in the middle of the 105th campaign. So as you said earlier, all the information's on our website, and I encourage folks to go there and try and see learn more about the organization and contribute if you are moved to do so, because it really matters. It goes right into the work and our staff and our employees and what we do here every day.
Yes, indeed. Please help us help the community. Help me help the community. And I just wanted to highlight, Alonna talked about community events. DCJ has been a prime partner in working with the Department of Corrections to provide community resource fairs, job fairs for individuals who are on probation. I know that our restorative justice program does a lot with the parents and the families that they interact with. Our youth reentry programs has a plethora of services where they provide resources to help youth get active in the community, active in extracurricular programs, and we could not do this without the help of everybody in the community. So please go to the website, donate, get involved. You could actually be a part of the 105th fundraising campaign. So make sure you not just donate, but check out the website. If you know Alonna, contact her personally. Tell her you want to get involved. If you know me, contact me, and I'm going to get you plugged in and get involved. But we want to be able to ensure that we can not only continue to serve justice in Delaware right now, but we can keep doing it for another 105 years. So Alonna, big question that I'm sure everybody wants to know. I'm curious, stepping into this role, what would you want your legacy to be as executive director of DCJ?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say for me, as I shared in the beginning, my connection to DCJ, it feels as if this is a full circle moment as to start. And for me, the legacy is about the continuation of the work that I've been doing in the community. It's the continuation of the work of DCJ's 105 years, of what we as an organization have done and continue to do. I think my legacy should not be pulled apart or separate of or from Delaware Center for Justice. The legacy of Delaware Center for Justice has been to be on the forefront of what's happening in our legal system, understanding the challenges in our legal system, providing solutions, both programmatically and policy-wise, for our state on how to improve our legal system in the state of Delaware. And I think that should continue to be it. I think DCJ is an organization that will always evolve over time. As we take a step forward, we don't just want to stop there. We want to keep pushing. What's the next layer? What's the next layer? How do we make this even better for our constituents? Our mission is simple. It's justice for all Delawareans, and we haven't accomplished it yet. And so the legacy has to be getting to a place where everyone in our state has what they need, everyone in our state has what they deserve, and everyone in our state feels like they have the tools to push it to the next level. And until we get there, that's what we're going to keep doing. But I hope that if we look back 20 years from now, 30 years from now, that's the legacy that we leave.
I'm excited. I think we're going to make it happen because, for one, this is one of my first times, actually, in my 20 years of nonprofit service, being able to collaborate with a leader from Sussex County. So, you bring in the knowledge, information, being connected with the community down there. I'm excited to see DCJ grow in Sussex and in Kent. We're already statewide with our services. We already host community events in all 3 counties, but I'm excited to watch us grow statewide so that we can ensure all Delawareans are receiving justice. Boy, this is going to be a beautiful thing. You better get active, get involved, be a part of what the Delaware Center for Justice has going on, because we have so much great things going on. So now that we've introduced the people to you, I think they are very well informed on what we do and what we're trying to do. For all the people who are listening and watching today, what would be your final comment? What would be the one message you hope that everyone would take with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first and foremost, I would say, if you don't know about DCJ, I hope you will start to learn and research. I hope you'll reach out to us to understand some of our programs and what we do. There's not enough time to talk about every single program and all the things we do, and I'm sure there are future episodes where you'll deep dive into some of those programs. But ultimately, DCJ is on the ground doing the work.
Yes, indeed.
And you might not know every staff member name or face. You might not know the impacts of the work, but you see it in your community. You should see it that we've helped to employ so many justice-impacted individuals across our state. You should see the work that we've done in our school systems to make sure that students don't have to get involved in our justice system. That's the ultimate goal. The work that we've done with the state, in our prison systems, to make sure that when folks are in those systems, that they're safer, that they have more supports, that they are able to work on themselves and their goals and what they want to do later in life. And so that's what I hope people take with them and understand, that this is the work that the Delaware Center for Justice does. It's a unique space. There aren't a lot of other organizations in the state doing this work. There aren't a lot of other organizations who are doing it in every county. We have staff who live in those communities across the state and understand the needs and the unique barriers that sometimes show up in those communities. And we're excited to keep doing the work. And so please share about the Delaware Center for Justice. If you know about us, if you want to learn more, please engage with us so that you can learn more. And I hope that people come to some of our upcoming events. We have so many coming up between now and the end of the year, and we would love to engage people who maybe haven't yet been directly involved with the Delaware Center for Justice yet.
You know what, Alonna, you said it so much better than me, because what I just tell people is to get active. DCJ is active right now. You can find out everything we're doing on our website, www.dcjustice.org. We're on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you don't see us, I'll talk to our communications guys, see if we can get there too. But wherever your platform is, check us out. If we're not there, let me know. Let us know. We'll get there. If you know anybody who has issues having justice in their life, reach out, get active, help them by just reaching out to us. And if you know anybody that you want to prevent from having issues with the justice system, reach out. You got to get active. You got to do something, because that's what we doing. We on the ground listening and activating the people so that all Delawareans can have justice. I appreciate you being here with me today, Alonna.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Make sure that you follow us and make sure that you get active with the Delaware Center for Justice.